स्टोरीज फैसिनेट मी। मुझे कहानियाँ बहुत पसंद हैं। मैं जब सोचता हूँ whenever I think about it and whenever I get mesmerized with a story, जब जब लगता है कि मैंने बहुत अच्छी कहानी देखी है या सुनी है या पढ़ी है, तो I feel as if like I want to go into roots of it. And what are the roots? Like they are the basic imagination of a person who is more creative than you. Probably yes. He is the one who has thought beyond you have ever thought. You never thought of, uh, probably, you never thought of explaining how rain looks like, how that, that sweet smell of soil on which the rain falls feels like. But someone is there who is writing a story about that. Now, as I said, I'm fascinated with stories. I have read a numerous amount of stories since my childhood. I have seen numerous amounts of movies, and each and every person who has created a story, I hats off to them. I cannot say anything more. And this probably is my tribute to all those storytellers who are out there giving us their fair share of amusement to us. And we are, as the consumers of stories, we are always looking for new stories, new ways of getting amused. So when I look back, I feel like आखिर ये शुरू कहाँ से हुआ होगा? When and where it all began? And when I see, I just try to put all that down. And when I remember, there are these legends which came, right? So there are these stories about these people, like in Valmiki Ramayana. uh, Valmiki asks Narada, Kon vasmin sampratam loke gunavan kascha viryavan. I want to write about someone who is perfect in the sense he is the perfect man on earth who has ever born. And behold, you have Ramayana. You have these stories about Noah's Ark, such a great story of preservation of everything on earth. You have these bedtime stories. Who can forget those nights when you are struggling to get sleep or you are getting sleep, uh, besides your grandmother or grandfather or your mother, and you are listening to a story which is literally mesmerizing you. You are literally living those stories, and sometimes you get dreams of those stories, and sometimes you don't get sleep and you just pick out a book and then probably read that book and understand that how the protagonist of that story has slain monsters or problems or whatever, right? And and these are like great stories which come out of them. Then when I look at it, there were a lot of these books which were written which had these stories, these morals, these comic way of rendering common sense. And some of them are Aesop's fables and Panchatantra. They are like, oh my god, they teach you everything and anything. They teach you common sense. They teach you how to behave in public, and that in the most entertaining way. And I have loved those. And then came these novels. People were not satisfied with these small stories, right? Like I'm listening to the story of a cat, but what is the pre and post of that cat? Tell me about it. I am listening to a story of a king. I probably just heard a small anecdote in his life, but I want to listen what happened to the king. What were different anecdotes in his life? How did he take birth? How did he conquer the world? I don't know. And then came these long and long novels and fascination for these. And These became the strong pillars of literature. And when things modernized, when things started little bit new, and people started getting lazy, these comic books came in. Like, I am reading everything. I am reading everything, and I am imagining everything in my head. Why should I do that when I have means of drawing something? If somebody says that there is a mouse, why should I imagine that mouse? I should see that mouse. And there came these graphic novels, and they have literally ruled the world. You can see these have become multi-billion-dollar industries. The movies which have come out of these comic books, basic theme may be a vigilante theme or a superhero theme or anything supernatural. Definitely you don't want to imagine something which is already there in front of you, right? So there these comic books came in, and I am big fan of comic books. I have read many, and I am going to read many, and I love them. Then the audiovisual way of rendering stories, pioneers of which were these two people, both in Indian and Western literature. And they wrote some things which people can act, which people can play. And that became favorite pastime of probably old ages, when there were no ways of projecting something onto a film or digital production projection. All you need to do was that you want some actor to play the role which have been written by these people, and they wrote it in that vivid description that it never gets old. Abhignana Shakuntalam never gets old. Othello never gets old. Comedy of Errors never gets old. Leela Kamalapatrani Ganaya Masa Parvati. Listen to that beauty in there, right? So you are saying that Parvati is just, वो गिन रही है लीला कमल को, मतलब कमल की पत्तियों को गिन रही है. It's as if such a beautiful description. When somebody is shy, she is not looking at anyone. People, rishis and munis have come with the proposal of marriage to Shiva, and she is happy about it, but she is hell lot of shy. And Leela Kamalapatrani Ganaya Masa Parvati. And that's the beauty of it. I mean, there are innumerable amount of beautiful things in stories, and I have literally appreciation for all of these, and I cannot tell you how much I get mesmerized when I read these stories, when I look at these stories, and I have utmost respect for these storytellers. When And movies, I mean, what to say about these movies? Probably the greatest invention on the earth was that someone found a way that something can be projected on something as easy as this film, and that can be projected onto a flat surface. And then came these movies, and when the movies were uh, conjoined with these talkies, then came these talking movies. Everything and anything was there on the screen to look at, and that became multi-billion-dollar industry in this world. People's thirst for the movies has not gone anywhere, and it is not going to go anywhere. Whether you project it on your at your home, whether you project it in a theater, whatever you want, people are hungry for new ways of rendering different stories in an audio-visual format, on a film, on your mobile, on your device, wherever and whenever people will binge watch. And that is where we have come to. And the beauty of stories is that this has not been limited to way of entertainment. Definitely I have seen people talking more and more about stories at work. Like, for example, you are talking about, tell me about something where my business is going, probably because these banks fail because somebody did not tell the story properly, and people did not take the decisions properly. And with data, they are asking you to tell more and more stories. If someone has seen this movie called Margin Call, he says, tell me something as if golden retriever will understand it. That means I don't want to know these complicated models which you talk about. I don't want to I don't want you to give me these Greeks, alpha, beta, gamma, whatever. I want to know where my bank is going. Tell me as if you could tell a story to a golden retriever. I do not want anything which I don't understand. Tell me a story, I'll understand and then make a decision. And that's where these stories come in at work. And what more if I'll tell you, like, for example, I like maths. I like maths. And if somebody asks me to probably solve a problem in number theory, I would definitely do that. But uh, if you ask me to choose between something like watch an Avengers movie and do something, code something, probably code a write an app, I probably enjoy that, but not to an extent that I enjoy Avengers movie, right? Because that is giving me utmost entertainment without any cost on my brain, right? So why should I, you know, exercise my brain? I'm a lazy person, right? Now, that's where I think it is important to know that stories should be part of curriculum. Stories, you should have a proper way of telling the stories, uh, so that people understand. And that's exactly what these lectures of physics by R.P. Feynman does. Right? He tells you a story. He tells you story of mechanics, electromagnetism, heat, quantum mechanics. He tells you everything and anything as if he's talking to you, and that becomes a beautiful way of rendering and learning physics. So incorporating stories or finding ways of telling something very interesting is very important in my view. It should be as interesting as possible, and then you will make your life very easy. And that's the importance of stories in our lives, right? And now what form it has taken now, because attention span of people is going down, and revolution in 2010s was like people started looking at Facebook. Now, when you look at it, what is a story? Story is something which is an experience which you may not have ever experienced, right? So someone says that a man wears an iron suit and flies. Will you ever experience that? You may or you may not, but you will definitely experience it if you go to the movie Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3. So, in a way, you are experiencing something which no, I mean, you may not experience in your life, right? You may or may not. But then, what about other people's lives? Right? I am a gossip lover. I mean, it may be ethical or unethical. Let's just park that somewhere else. But definitely, I am a gossip lover, and that's what Facebook capitalized. And that's where people. I mean, we saw that people wanted to share something about their lives, and other people want to react. That yes, probably this is what I want to share my view, and people want to react that I have a counter view. And that's how the stories evolved, and I would call them stories because every opinion is a story, is an imagination, or is something backed up by facts by someone. But that the way in which you render it, that is a story. And every Facebook post in my view is a story, and that has, I mean, revolutionized things. People started spending hours and hours on Facebook, just to know what is happening in other people's lives, and that became a great way of rendering stories and revolutionized the world. Similarly, you have this, I mean, of course, YouTube, freedom for everyone to tell their own story. Everybody wants to become YouTuber, including me for now. Like, for example, uploading this video and want to do something, probably give my tribute to these storytellers. But I can do that. I can dream of doing that. I don't have to go ahead and just pick up a camera and look for a place and look for a producer and do that. I can do that sitting on my couch, creating a shitty presentation and tell you my story. And that's YouTube. And that's a revolution in my view. right? And very similarly, you have, and I just want to talk about these reels and shorts, the game of attention span. People have so many stories they can consume right now that that it is becoming too much for them, and people don't want to go ahead and look at, say, just 10-minute videos or 15 minutes videos. Or all they want is they want these 30-second videos, and they want to consume as many videos as possible, as many experiences as they can. They want Dale Phillip to see how Bali is, or probably see him check in, because they cannot go to Bali at that point in time, but they can see him check in. They can see him eating a cookie, and that's the short. And shorts have revolutionized everything. Like, people are uploading anything and everything. Let us just park the ethics and unethical part of that somewhere, and probably, so some things may be ridiculous, some things maybe making sense, some tips may be good, some tips may not be good, but that has become your way of life. Now, how did it all begin? As I said, cave paintings. Probably a prehistoric man was looking at something, that a dog is chasing him, or a big cat is chasing him, and he wants to tell that, and he tells that when he did not have any language, probably the cave paintings, right? I mean, I just read before recording this video. I was just looking at it, and what I understood is that probably the oldest recorded cave paintings were there somewhere in France, where people have recorded something like their daily struggles, how they hunt, how they go ahead and pick up these big animals for cooking or otherwise, right? And then came these oral rendition of legends we spoke about, legends like story Arabian Nights, right? So these are these legends, and trust me, these are very interesting, very interesting. And then became the time of epics. Epics, people were not satisfied with these small stories or small legends. They wanted to know more. They wanted larger and larger epics. They wanted to submerge themselves into these books. And there came Iliad's Homer, or Valmiki's Ramayana, Vyasa's Mahabharata, and these became so long, and people wanted to spend so much time in that has too much learning, good common sense, good way of analyzing people's behaviors, people's actions, how they behave in different situations, how there are different types of characters, and how these characters build up and make these stories, right? And of course, these motion pictures which we have talked about, digital revolution, like anyone and everyone can go and just book that, right? Now I just wanted to ask you, यार तुम कहना क्या चाहते हो? That is probably the question which you may be having right now, right? Or probably some people, some bullies may have this question. तो मैं क्या करूं साले? नाचूं? नहीं, नाचो मत, सुनो मुझे. तो so why I'm doing this? I'm doing this because I have I have read, seen, enjoyed innumerable amounts of stories. And I respect storytellers too much. I respect their stories too much. And this probably is an attempt to give my fair share to these stories. And I'm sure neither my skill nor my creativity, as evident by the fact that I'm using a PowerPoint, I don't have this power to edit this video. But definitely, I'll edit a little bit here and there. But I don't have that skill set. But my feelings have overwhelmed too much that I cannot contain them within myself, and I want to tell about these stories. I want to talk about these stories as much as possible, with great frequencies. I want to upload every day one video and talk about one story or the other, and talk so much about that, what I understood about the story, what mesmerized me in that story, what made me think that, yeah, it's just disgusting, probably it's not that great, but that part in that story is wonderful. The way people have told that story, beauty of words, beauty of audio visuals, beauty of dialogue, I want to analyze anything and everything, whatever I consume from there on. Probably not everything, but definitely whatever which has affected me too much, and I want to do that by the way of you know, probably these videos, writings, my blog, whatever. But I am going to do that because I cannot contain those overwhelming feelings within myself, right? And how did it all begin? Like it all began before a long time, that I was so sad, and I posted in Facebook saying that feels like my life will be spent appreciating creativity rather than being creative. I thought that I will never be a good storyteller, probably may or may not in future, I don't know, but right now I want to become. And somebody told, then do appreciation in a creative manner. Spelling may be wrong, probably he was in a hurry, but 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 people wanted to wanted me to appreciate things in a creative manner. Don't think I am doing this in a creative manner, but I am doing this one way or the other, and I am continuing to do so, whether somebody watches or somebody do not. But if you like this, please like, subscribe, and do whatever you want. Share this video to everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.